Howdy, hello everyone, I'm Critic, and you're the viewer, and today we will be talking about the most forgotten Seaworld 2020 coaster. Like, come on, half of the people outside of San Diego don't even remember this thing exists. Come on, at least cut San Diego some slack. Seaworld San Diego's been getting a lot of coasters recently. Maybe y'all can pay this park a little bit of attention. Maybe, just maybe, I don't know. So today we will be talking about Emperor at Seaworld San Diego. Now this ride, I can say, is the new #1 at the park. It outdoes Manta by just a tiny bit. At the time of recording this video, I've only ridden Emperor on one day, Passport to Thrills, the VIP event thing, and I got 20 rides that day, so it was pretty good. And today I'm going to be explaining the history of pretty much just a brief history of Seaworld San Diego and the full history of Emperor, formerly Mako, and seeing what it went through to get to this point and why it took so freaking long. So, let's get started. The story of Seaworld San Diego, and basically the story of every single Seaworld park, all starts with 4 businessmen. These 4 businessmen were named George Millay, Milt Shedd, Ken Norris, and David Lamont. Seaworld San Diego was originally planned to be an underwater restaurant, but at the time it was deemed impractical for obvious reasons. And if they had gone through with this underwater restaurant idea, we may have never gotten SeaWorld at all. We may have never been able to see what that company really could have become, and they may have just been stuck as a simple restaurant. I mean, like, granted, it did seem pretty freaking cool, but that's besides the point. SeaWorld opened as pretty much just an aquarium with some extra stuff. It really didn't start getting rides until it was bought out by Anheuser-Busch. So, eventually, Seaworld San Diego thought that they should add a simulator ride. At the time, simulators were quite, popular. All starting with Star Tours at Disneyland, all of the simulator ride-based things all started off of that, and SeaWorld wanted to aim off that success. It would be called Mission Bermuda Triangle. It would be in the back corner of the park, so it wouldn't really be getting in the way of anything, and would be themed to the Bermuda Triangle, as the name evidences. I may make a video on Mission Bermuda Triangle and what it would be eventually rethemed to later on, but we're not here to talk about that, we're here to continue. But eventually, in 2004, SeaWorld decided they would add Journey to Atlantis, a water coaster, the first one on the West Coast, might I add, after, like, you know, construction, freaking track work, lift hill supports, track being laid, all that sort of stuff. Eventually, the ride was finished and it opened to actually pretty good crowds. I'm kind of surprised that SeaWorld managed to pull that one off. But after that, SeaWorld kind of hit a drought where they didn't really add anything new to the park. They did add the freaking Riptide Rescue ride at the back of the park, the other back corner of the park, which kind of just opened to something. And then in 2012, they opened Manta, SeaWorld San Diego's first ever non-water-based roller coaster. Now, Manta was, Manta was Manta. It was really good, it was really fun, and it was a capacity monster. After it opened, something happened, and then SeaWorld kind of went down under for a little while there, and then eventually they decided they would start adding thrill rides, and it started to pay off. So at SeaWorld San Diego, they installed Electric Eel, and then Tidal Twister, but we don't talk about Tidal Twister. So after Tidal Twister, they then made plans for a new B&M mini dive coaster. This would be 153 feet tall, have a 90-degree drop, go 60 miles an hour, and it would be just a pretty good ride with no mid-course, unlike all the other dive coasters, which have a mid-course in the middle of the ride that basically just kills all of the pacing. So after we also figured out the name, or what we thought the name would be, which was Mako, SeaWorld decided that they would just give every single San Diego coaster enthusiast a heart attack by making it so we had no idea whether or not the ride would actually be cleared by the California Coastal Commission, because the California Coastal Commission is a freaking... But eventually, the ride was cleared, and oddly enough, on National Roller Coaster Day, ground was broken on Mako. Well, Mako at the time. After the ground was dug and, like, footers being poured so fast that I didn't even know footers were poured in the first place, it went vertical, and then, like, the exact next day, IAPA happened.
At their booth, to make a really great, exciting announcement. We've already announced this new attraction coming to Seaworld San Diego. This is our 2020 dive coaster. It's going to be California's tallest, fastest, and longest dive coaster. I'm really excited about this project opening next summer at Seaworld San Diego. And today, we're very excited to announce the name of this new attraction. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, ready, Sophie? Please welcome, ready? Emperor.
That's right, the ride was now called Emperor after a penguin. And the award for the worst named coaster in the world goes to SeaWorld San Diego for Emperor, naming it after a emperor penguin, also known as the creatures that we laugh at on YouTube for falling over on their face in the icy tundras. And construction in SeaWorld fashion accelerated way too freaking quickly. Like, I swear to God, every single time I drove past this park, at least 5 new pieces of track were installed. Like, if the thing wouldn't have happened, this ride would have been open by late March. The evidence for this fact comes from the fact that the ride is currently about to open in mid-March. So after the ride got constructed, eventually testing happened. We saw one test, and then the world kind of did an oopsie there and shut down. For 2 years. So let's talk about what happened to Emperor throughout those 2 years. First of all, nothing happened. Well, I mean, like, it was kind of like, it was still there, just no one was on site, like, ever. The only time when we actually started to see genuine progress was when we noticed that things were starting to pop up in the area. And then, a sign. The makers of the sign posted on Twitter that they had installed it, and basically just marketing their signs. What they didn't know, though, was this gave all SeaWorld San Diego fans, including me, hope, because that meant that there was a chance that Emperor may open in 2021, as well as the park itself, because the park was open, but just without rides because of, you know, California and the thing. And then, in late February of 2021, the ride began testing again. This was genuinely amazing. Like, seriously, I don't think anyone will ever understand the amount of happiness I felt when I saw Emperor testing again. Because I had been waiting for this ride for so long, and I just wanted it to open already, as well as the park. So now having Emperor testing again, and later on in early March seeing Manta with test dummies in it, and Electric Eel getting social distancing markers in its queue, this was just amazing. The park would reopen, and maybe Emperor would open along with it. And then the park reopened, with just Electric Eel, not Journey to Atlantis or Manta. Why not Journey to Atlantis? Well, because Journey to Atlantis was undergoing refurbishment. Why not Manta? Because it broke, and they had to order an entirely new park from Mack Rides, which just so happens to be located in Europe, specifically Germany. So, Yeah, it took like half a month for them to even get that one part that they needed to reopen the ride. And then after seeing the park reopen, literally all of its rides, except for Tidal Twister, because Tidal Twister, Emperor just sat there, dormant. It's still tested once in a while, but not all the time. And then, out of literally nowhere, SeaWorld just decided, yeah, it's a good day to announce the opening dates of our rides. So they announced that Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens Tampa would open in March of 2022, Tidal Surge would open in March of 2022, Pantheon would open in March of 2022, Emperor would open in March of 2022, and Icebreaker would open in February of 2022. Why February? Because the people of Orlando just like that, I guess. So, as the days and months went by, came January of 2022. This was the month where we finally got an announcement date to all of SeaWorld's coasters, including Emperor, which was announced to be opening on March 12th of 2022, right before, well, they say it's right in time for spring break, but it's not really. It's like a few weeks before spring break. So, that brings us to today. Emperor held its past member previews and Passport to Thrills and Media Day. I rode it a bunch. It's quite fun, quite good. By the time I'm releasing this, it will already be March 12th, and a lot of people that are watching this video have probably already ridden it, and I'm assuming a lot of you can all agree that that ride is pretty fun, and for people like me, is the new #1 in the park. So, I think that will be it for today's video. I'm very aware that near the end, I stopped going, like, in person for the shots. That's because my recorder ran out of space, and it's gonna take me a while to clean it all up. So, I just had to record it all off of my microphone for the rest of this video. So, I was Critic, you were the viewer, and I'll see you in the future. Goodbye.